Well, good morning, DCC family. Welcome to our Today show. It's Wednesday, October 14th. I'm Shawn Stanton, the Adults Ministry Pastor here at DCC.
I'm Britt Hemphill, Children and Family Ministries Pastor.
So let's get into our announcements for today. So, the reservations for our in-person Sunday worship service are no longer required. It is now just first come and first serve. We have overflow seating available in the chapel, so you can watch the service on the big screen if you need to. Service begins at 9 o'clock. We're still looking for volunteers to assist Jennifer Freimeyer with booking our guests for the DCC Today program. Please contact the church office if you can help with that. And we still have a position in the front office for an assistant secretary that we're trying to fill. And you can contact Colleen Price at the church office if you're interested. Okay, so here is today's fun fact that I will share with you once I find it. Okay, so 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Samuel, and 1st and 2nd Chronicles were originally just one book each. One book of Kings, one book of Samuel, and one book of Chronicles. Do you know why they were divided? I'm going to tell you. Because they were too long. They wouldn't fit on the scroll, and if the scrolls were long enough, they would have been too heavy to carry. So they divided the books up.
Okay.
There you go. What do you got for us?
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
well,
it's good.
nothing nearly as good as that. But it's a good question, all right? And we've been thinking about this a lot. People wondering as summer has passed about this question. How many flowers do honeybees need to visit in order to make 1 pound of honey? How many flowers do honeybees need to visit in order to make 1 pound of honey? 900,000, 1 million, 1.5 million, or 2 million flowers to make 1 pound of honey?
Want me to guess?
Sure.
1 million.
1 million is an excellent guess, but it's half the correct answer. 2 million flowers in order to make 1 pound of honey.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
God just designed them to do that work. It's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, let's check out the mug shots.
Yeah.
Okay, Britt, you have a devotional for us today. Would you share that with us?
Yes, I do. Oswald Chambers, My Utmost for His Highest, one of my favorite devotionals. And the September 1st devotional is entitled Destined to be Holy. And the byline is, it is written, Be holy for I am holy. That's 1 Peter 1:16. And Oswald Chambers wrote this. He said, we must continually remind ourselves of the purpose of life. We are not destined to happiness nor to health, but to holiness. Today we have far too many desires and interests, and our lives are being consumed and wasted by them. Many of them may be right, noble, and good, and may later be fulfilled, but in the meantime, God must cause their importance to us to decrease. The only thing that truly matters is whether a person will accept the God who will make him holy. At all costs, a person must have the right relationship with God. And as I thought about this and for sharing today, I thought, the pandemic has shaken us tremendously. In many ways, it's revealed a sharp contrast between the purpose of life our culture pushes us toward versus the purpose of life, holiness, that God calls us to. I so appreciate this reminder from Oswald that we are not destined to happiness or health, but to holiness, and the great challenge of unconditional acceptance of and surrender to the God who can make us holy. So I think that's a good reminder to us today of what matters most in this world that we're living in.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's good. Having the opportunity to be holy is huge. Okay, well, thank you. And let's see what Jennifer has for our interview today.
Hello, everyone. Our guest family today on DCC Today are the Hewlens, and they are going to share with us a little bit about their family life and who they are. I'm sure most of you know Jessica from teaching Sunday school, and Grant, I think, goes to a lot of our youth stuff. So there's a few faces you may be familiar with. So I'm just going to pass it right to Corey and Jessica. Maybe you guys can give us a little background and a little introduction and let the kids introduce themselves too.
Yeah, my name is Corey Hulen. We have 4 kids. My wife Jessica. We moved to Washington. Well, we lived up here originally for a number of years. Moved back to California, came back up, and we've been living here in the Sequim area for about 3 years now.
And Jessica, how about you? Tell me a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Northern California in Redding.
Okay.
And I lived there pretty much my whole life, except for a really brief time when I actually lived here in Sequim. So I lived in Sequim for almost 18 months when I was in high school. And so I remember when Sequim was a small town with no Walmart and only one grocery store.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how did you and Corey, how did you and Jessica meet each other?
We met through a friend. So one of my best friends was friends with Jessica's roommate, or
yeah, one of my best friends from college.
So
okay.
Yeah, we both met after college, but we met through a friend basically.
Okay. And so were you married in California or?
We were actually married up here in Washington State. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you've gone back and forth several times. Is that because of your work, Corey, or what?
Yeah, exactly. We moved up here. I moved up here and went to work. And then we ended up we got married. We had 2 oldest kids who were born up here. Then we moved back to California and had 2 kids down there and then moved back up. So yeah, we've been kind of back and forth.
Okay. And so what is your line of work, Corey? What do you do?
I'm a software engineer. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, what's really nice now is even before COVID, I worked remotely. So as long as I have an internet connection, I can kind of work from anywhere.
You're good. Which is great during quarantine.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and how about you, Jessica? What is your occupation?
Well, I was a teacher before I was a mom. So I have a background in education. And that kind of led us to our journey. We've been homeschooling since our kids were old enough to start school.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like, I guess probably the most fascinating fact about our family is that because we're homeschoolers and because Corey could work remotely, before we settled in Sequim, we traveled the country for 2 years.
Wow.
We would travel in a 25-foot travel trailer. We would be gone for a few months at a time. And we had a home base in California, but we would travel and then come back home for a little while and then travel again. So
okay.
Yeah.
So you guys, you kids have been all over the country, literally, sounds like. Okay. Well, I'm going to start with the youngest. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how old you are and if you're in sports or activities or anything.
My name is Aspen Hulen. I'm 8 years old. I didn't do much sports. I remember doing soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
And what do you like to do for fun?
Fun, I love to rollerblade. We have a blackberry bush down the street, so every spring or summer when they're ripe, I go down and pick blackberries.
Nice. Okay.
Right.
Aspen rides horses.
Oh, okay.
Probably doesn't remember because of COVID. Everything feels like it's so long ago, but that is her hobby.
That's her passion. Okay, nice. Okay, so then we have Easton, I think is our next up. And so Easton, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, I played soccer. How old are you? I'm 10 years old.
And what grade are you in?
4th grade.
4th grade. Okay. And so are you doing, do you do classes online at all, or is everything just at home with your mom?
Right now I'm working with my mom.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so I'm going to move up to Sienna, I think is next, right?
Yeah, so I'm Sienna. I do school online.
Okay. And what grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade.
Okay.
So I just turned 13. And I think before COVID, I did soccer. And then during COVID, and even before COVID, one of my favorite hobbies was surf. So
Nice. Yeah, that's right. I saw you guys out at Surf Day. You guys were in the water most of the times. That makes sense. Okay. And where did you learn to surf?
so the first, oh gosh, it was the actual church ministry that took the church out, and I went and did it with the church. And then one of Easton's friends and one of Dad's friends was in the church ministry, and so he helped us and taught us how to surf for the most part.
Nice. And what do you like about it? What it keeps you coming back to surfing?
I think part of it is the thrill of being able to stand up on the board and ride it all the way in. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, Grant, the oldest.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Grant Hewland. Surprise, surprise. I am 15 years old, so the oldest of all us hooligans. I'm a sophomore this year, also doing online school, just like Sienna. Hobbies would include, I'm a miniatures player, so I build, paint, and play miniatures board games, and I like to animate.
Nice. Wow. And I know you have been involved in some of the youth group things, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have had a wonderful time teaching our middle school right now, especially during COVID. We've been able to do it off of Zoom. Me, Mr. Sweeney, and Peter and Kim. That has just been wonderful to be able to continue doing that even with Corona.
Yeah, great. So you guys have a big, wide variety of interests. I love it. So many different interests. So, okay, I'm going to go back to Jessica and Corey. So what brought you to DCC originally when you moved here and were in the area? What brought you here and what made you stay?
You want to take that one, Jessica?
Yeah, we did a little bit of, visiting churches in the area, but we actually live really close to DCC. And when we had tried a couple of churches, we thought, well, why don't we just try this church that's so close to home? And so we did. And we felt really fortunate that we loved the teaching. We felt like it was really biblical, and we loved that there was a place for our family, and that's the strong biblical teaching and the community that we felt like we could raise our kids in is what kept us there.
Mm-hmm. Great.
And I would add, like, just the welcoming people we met early on in the process. So I think we went to the newcomers lunch, and we met George Crabb and his family, and just through stuff like that, it's been great.
Yeah, just connections that you made, right? And Jessica, we have the privilege of you teaching one of the Sunday school classes and kind of being a leader in our ministry group. And so maybe you can tell us a little bit about what quarantine has looked like for Sunday school. Have you been able to keep in touch at all with your kids, or kind of what that's looked like?
Well, I am fortunate enough to have a really wonderful team. So I do work with the preschool Sunday school group, and I really love that. And so we do have a really great team of Sunday school teachers. And Lauren Babow and I have had the privilege of writing to our kids. And we try to do that about once a month. And sometimes she writes to the boys and I write to the girls, and sometimes we switch, and sometimes we just divide the class half and half. And that's the way that we've really tried to stay connected throughout COVID. So yeah, that's how we're doing it.
Okay. Well, so the other question I think I had for you guys was, and this can be for any of you, is how has the COVID-19 quarantine affected you guys? Anybody can answer.
I think that before COVID, our life was very active. There was probably something going on every day of the week. And on the weekends, even when there usually wasn't activities, we were out doing something. So I think that due to COVID, everything was canceled, and we finally were able to stay home and be able to not have it be a go, go, go every single day of the week. And I think that when COVID is over, I don't think I would go back to having as many activities as I did before.
Yeah, so you've actually found a positive in all this quarantine, is that maybe things slowed down and you don't mind that. That's great. Anybody else?
Well, during this, during the during the quarantine, it's allowed us to be more as a family, because when there was activity all day, we weren't spending as much time together. But during the quarantine, that allowed us to spend way more time together as a family.
Yeah, so you guys are really finding that you like hanging out together, and the quarantine has sort of forced you to, but you're figuring out you like it. So that's good. Yeah.
I think fortunately, we've already been homeschooling. Corey already worked from home, so we did spend a lot of time together as it was, but I think it's all of the extracurriculars that we aren't doing anymore. I think I've heard a lot of people say the same thing, that, I have all of these activities, but we're not sure what to cut out. We don't know they're all good. How do you say no to all of the good things? And because of COVID, suddenly you didn't have to choose what to say no to.
Yeah, it kind of chose it for you, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'd say that's like the one blessing, right? Is being able to okay, slower pace of life. Our family can spend some quality family time together. And even though we were, like I said, pretty remote and pretty homeschooled, already independent, so some of those things didn't affect us very much, but just that slower pace of life, and I think it's been really great.
Yeah, I've actually heard that from other people too, even in their walk with the Lord. They feel like they've been able to spend a little more time praying, or being in the Word, or just being with their neighbors, maybe just inviting their neighbors over and things. So there's definitely been some positives out of all this as well. But, well, I so appreciate you, Hulen family, being willing to share a little bit about yourselves with us today. And I think Grant said he would love to close us in prayer as we lead out today. So I'm going to let him do that.
All right. Father God, thank you for today and everything you gave us. Lord, thank you for DCC and the amazing community that it has, that we were welcomed into. God, your plan for us was just amazing. I pray during coronavirus that we would continue to look for you in every nook and cranny, and everywhere where we would see doubt or terror or dismay, Lord, that we would see the little golden nuggets of your love and your plan for us in this timeline, God. I pray for friends and for family that everybody would stay safe during this time, Lord, and that your hand of protection would be over them. And I pray that we would all just be able to get through this and have our bond with you grow stronger. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Great. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day.